Welcome to the Not Nerd Show. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Hello.
In the flesh.
I was hiding. Hi, it's good to see you in person. And as always, we got to make sure your mustache doesn't hit me in the face while we're
Clean
recording.
Your ears. Yes.
Well, we just finished watching Worldwide Developer Conference 2025 from Apple, affectionately known as WWDC, and it was good.
Yeah.
Man, what a packed show. It was very packed.
Yeah.
Like very packed.
Hour and a half of nonstop action.
And I hear you verifying that we're live on YouTube. So if you hear an echo on the broadcast, it's on purpose. We did it on purpose, of course.
Yes. Our new setup here, but I do have a hat on.
Oh, let's take a look. I can't adjust
usual.
cameras, so let's see what you got there. Oh, ho, ho.
So
There it is.
This is
And I'm
an Apple
dumb.
hat.
I should have worn my Apple shirt that you bought me.
and you might remember you're going, oh, you've worn that Apple hat before. No, you're remembering this one, which if you look, was done with the iron-on.
Yeah.
You can see it's already yellowing. I think I did this WWDC last year.
Now show us this one.
But this one is with the direct-to-film transfer. You can see some edges on there.
A little bit of an edge.
Because I did it this morning, but I should be able to get that off.
So that's just a wrinkle. That's not
material.
material.
It's not material like on this one. So
I see. That's
Apple
pretty
hat.
cool. That's nice. I like it.
There
Nice
we
job.
go. Well, should we get into discussing all the things? Man,
They started off with an overview. Of course, Tim in his office down on the main floor with everybody else in a small,
just like in the main entryway with
like
all
he's
glass
like
walls.
he's a receptionist at the
Yes.
place. But he suddenly puts on some headphones and a mic thing, and lo and behold, Craig is racing his F1 car to celebrate the new F1 movie that's coming out. And then we get a couple subtle cues, but we find out later that he's racing around the top of the building, which I didn't see it coming. I was just like,
the Apple Ring, yes. So they always like to do that fun intro video, and
I loved it. I thought
the
it was...
budget for that thing, I can't even imagine. He was talking about his F1 car with the new CarPlay.
Yeah.
With CarPlay in it.
I'm glad CarPlay's in here.
And then he locked it when he got out of it, which
it's open.
it's
air.
an open race car. But
And I don't know if you saw it in one of the other segments when the lady was talking about CarPlay and she was driving around. They drove by that F1 and a guy was putting a ticket on it. Did you see that?
I totally missed that. Oh man, yes. So that was a fun, and then they really got right into things. It was so much stuff. We're going to try to keep this under 3 hours. But Craig Federighi, the VP of design or software or something like that. They talked about Apple Intelligence, which a lot of people were kind of like, oh, are they going to shy away from Apple Intelligence? Because a lot of people haven't been happy with it this last year. They didn't get a lot of the things out that they were hoping to, but they opened up with it. They talked about the successes of it. They did not talk about the failures, to no one's surprise.
They didn't mention those.
We really messed this up, and we're sorry. We might get to it someday, but just some of the basics, the writing tools, the Genmoji image playground, the cleanup in photos.
Yeah, I got to say, it started off really lackluster at the beginning. I'm just like, okay, you're just showing us all the stuff that you did before, and thanks for the recap. Let's get into the new stuff. And they did get right into the new stuff at the top of the show with their new all design for all OSs.
Everything is changing.
And just to remind people about Worldwide Developer Conference, it's not about hardware, it's about software. And so we're talking anything with an OS at the end. WatchOS, visionOS, iOS, iPadOS, whatever. macOS. And so they did a great job introducing new features that are available across all of the OSs. And so many of the things we talk about are going to apply to your watch, to your visionOS, to whatever, because they released the product and then they scaled it across all of those different places. So the big mic drop was Liquid Glass.
Liquid Glass.
That's the name of their new design language, which Google has their material design for their operating system, the Android operating system. So this is a metaphor for having something like frosted glass and clear glass, and the optics that work within those materials to the underlying objects. So imagine a glass sphere moving across a texture. You'll see all the distortions and everything like that happen. That's kind of what liquid glass implies. But of course, it morphs and squishes in ways that real glass cannot. But that type of look is now going to be found throughout all of the operating systems from Apple and all of their devices.
Yeah, and it looked really good. I mean, the new icons is kind of the basic start of it, but then your control centers and like they showed where we just talked about it in a pro tip of the week was, when you're holding your finger over to kind of select text, the magnified just looks so much more fluid and natural.
And more accurate. And those are things that we just, by being humans, just know intuitively. And so they take a lot of trouble and work to design those things so that they appear real.
Yes.
And then we just we don't even think about it. It just looks real to us. And so it's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah. So a lot of new menus, dynamic stuff, which you gasp because you don't want them to hide more menus. But
yeah, so I really am a user interface designer at heart. I just haven't gone to any schools
actually
done any work or anything like that. But I have a lot of opinions about user interface design. And in another life, I'm going to become a user interface designer. But oftentimes, developers will try to tuck and hide, especially Apple, useful things behind contextual situations. Yeah. So one example is I'm on Safari on my phone, and I go to a website, and when I scroll up, all my buttons disappear. Where did all my buttons go? I don't know. And I have to kind of figure out, if I scroll back down, but not if I scroll back down slowly, I have to be a little bit faster, and then all the buttons come back. Well, being someone who's used computers for a long time, I can figure these things out, but I work with a lot of people who are very easily confused when buttons disappear or they're hidden behind some context. Well, that'll appear if you click over here. Now the button's there, and it's like, well, how was I supposed to know to click over here? It's like, you don't. You don't know. So that's my rant on contextual interface. So there's more of that.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of things flipping around and zipping around and hiding behind corners and doing whatever. And so it is intuitive, but there is going to be a learning curve on how to access some of these tools.
Yes, that was something I said just before the event started. We were talking about what we were expecting, and I was hoping that they weren't going to go too far where it's a complete revolutionary, and I don't think it's that. I think it's a lot of subtle changes, and it's going to look really cool. But yeah, so the liquid glass goes across all the operating systems. They talked about that. So all of your Apple devices will be getting this. And then the other thing they talked about with that is instead of WatchOS 6 and visionOS 2 and iOS 17, everything, and this was heavily rumored, everything is going to 26, version 26. Air horn. So it'll be much more simplified, you'll know. And the reasoning behind it is all of this software that we talk about will launch to the average user in the fall. There's betas beforehand, but all of it is for the year 2026. Kind of like new cars. I think maybe we talked about that, they come out in the summer, fall for the next year's lineup. So they launch it in the fall. It's for the year 2026.
Yeah.
So going forward, all the software standardize on 26.
And it only becomes awkward when it's 2028 and we're still using 2026 stuff. But I have a feeling that Apple's going to rename stuff, whether or not it's a new version or not.
Yes.
They're going to be like, we added a new icon. It's 27.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Wes says in the chat, I just realized you guys are in the same room, or is it AI? And as much as I really wanted to trick them, I'll tell you what.
Got him.
Got me with the...
Live in the flesh, yes.
Catfish.
We got together to watch the event on Dave's frame TV in the living room, TV. And then we moved into his studio to record together, which we like to do for Apple events. It kind of becomes a a day for us to spend some time
A very
in person.
Apple-y experience. Apple TV is how we watched it, and we listened to it on HomePods, Apple
Yes.
HomePods. So it was great.
Yes.
And it's very hot here. I mean, we don't want to really talk about what's going on. Oh, that's not working. So I was going to show you my driveway cam, but it's not working at the moment. It's hot today.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
we probably don't want to make this too long.
83 already, and it just is noon. So, yeah, we're having a little bit of unseasonably warm weather here in the
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest. But, yeah, so let's get into the different versions. We're going to try to go through these quick. Now, they started with iOS 26, which iPhones, that is their highest user count. I mean, 1 billion iPhones out there.
Billion iPhones in your pocket, y'all.
Yes, thank you, Oprah. That's Dave's Oprah's Oprah impersonation.
It was really good.
But yeah, so iOS 26 with this new liquid glass, as you can imagine, the control center, your lock screen, they're going to have new elements. Dynamic font resizing, which they showed, which, like, depending on your desktop or your lock screen picture, it'll adjust the time. Animated album art on the lock screen with music. And then, so that's kind of your, I don't use the lock screen in Control Center very often. It's usually just to get into whatever I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We got the CRV in the driveway today.
Sorry to distract, but there were people walking around outside,
Oh.
and so I was like, well, we got to
Driveway
check that
cam.
out.
We got to get the driveway cam one time. They
Yeah.
gave me the driveway. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the initial thing. They talked about the camera app. Now they're going to simplify that back to your contextual menus, where when you go in there, it's just photo and video. That's
Yeah.
what 99% of people are doing in there.
It's
Two
not going to be
options.
portrait and slow-mo and all this other
A million
crazy
different,
stuff.
and I always accidentally get over onto slow-mo or something else that I don't want.
And nothing's worse when you're trying to take a picture of something quick and you're like, how am I in portrait mode? How do I even know how to get out of it? So,
yeah. And a pro tip.
hold on. What was that?
A pro tip. I should have
we
brought my bell with me. But in the Photos app, a lot of people switch over to portrait mode. On the newer phones and versions, you can just take a photo and then adjust the portrait afterwards. So you don't have, it automatically takes portrait photos. It captures that data. So you don't have to switch over to portrait mode unless you're really trying to frame it. So they're trying to simplify the camera app, which is, I think, by far probably the app I use just about the most, maybe Messages, but
I use Reddit the most. But.
yes. But so they're simplifying that, but there will be more controls in there. You can get to all the other stuff easily. It's part of this new menus and easily usable menus where it has the stuff you want. So that's the camera, the photos.
Oh.
Now, the last version, I don't even know which iOS we're on anymore. That's
18.
why
iOS 18.
Why I'm glad we're going to the years. They made some big changes to the Photos app. A lot of people didn't like it. You get used to it, but they're bringing back a little bit of the library at the bottom, a library button in your collections, which the collections is everything from screenshots to favorites to shared albums. All of that stuff is on one tab and everything else on the other tab.
I could not be more happy about this because I hated the new version. I still hate it. I'm always like down in this thing of menus that I'm like, I just want to go to my most recent photos. So anyway, this is a welcome change for me. So I'm glad that they finally came to their senses. But.
Yeah, Safari, the content's going to fill the screen, websites and stuff more, some dynamic controls for that.
And I use Safari a lot on all my devices, and so it's going to be a good change. FaceTime, this more contextual stuff like we're talking about, the controls are just going to go out of your way. Instead of all the stuff there, it's just going to be the person you're connecting with. Well, I got to tell you, my mom has a really hard time right now switching from the front camera to the back camera. I'm like, okay, tap on your picture and there'll be an icon of a thing, and you got to tap the icon and it'll flip, and then she just leaves it there for the rest of the call. So I'm looking at her knees when she's talking to me. So having the controls disappear, I'm a little scared about. But, I mean, if it makes it a cleaner interface, we'll see.
Yes. They talked about CarPlay. There's new stuff. Very few people have CarPlay. The phone app, they're actually making some pretty big changes to the phone app, which I think look really cool. It'll have just kind of more of a one screen where it'll have your favorite contacts. It'll have recent calls and voicemails with the transcriptions. So instead of having to switch between 5 tabs, it was kind of lagging behind in that.
Yeah.
And what they call it, the foundational app of the iPhone. I was like, yeah, not the most important. It is the original iPhone. People wanted a phone, but
Yeah.
we don't use that. But with FaceTime and some of that, there's been discussion in the past of could they put messages, FaceTime, phone, contacts all in one app, so it's just one place. I think maybe having messages and then the phone, but a lot more people I think use FaceTime and stuff in there.
Well, again, older people, and I have an example, do get confused on I got a voicemail message and I can read the message, but I got a text message, so I can't find the message. Where was the message?
Yes. Yes.
So that's a great idea. But moving on, we kind of talked about messages, but now in your shared spaces, Nate, you can have background photos. I don't know really what a shared space is, but I know what a group message is.
Also known as group message.
So the group messaging, I do one with my sister, my wife, and sister-in-law, and a niece. And there's a lot of people there. I had to think about it, but it might be fun. It was for fitness challenges. It might be fun to put something fitnessy in the background so that you can easily identify where you're at. And as well as that, you can now add polls to group chats. So it's like, hey, where do you want to go for dinner? And have 3 places. And one thing that they said that other people would be able to, in the chat, would be able to add to the poll, which someone's always going to write something inappropriate. So I'm not sure I'd like that idea. Apple Cache right in the group chat. There's typing indicators to let you know that someone else is typing. I guess I did not know that was not available.
In the group
chat. And then of course, screening tools. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong line.
No, that's right. Oh, okay. With the better spam detection and filtering out some of that stuff for new contacts and stuff. But yeah, so that's the Messages app, which again I use a lot, and not in a ton of group texts, but I have a few.
Yeah, well, and I think like with you and Todd, I haven't named that. Group chat. It's just a group chat.
It's just a chat. Or with Wes, we have several little ones that we share stuff.
But don't be scared, everybody. They're going to do more with Apple Intelligence. Yes. Everybody was like, "Hey, I love Apple Intelligence so much. Do more of that." And of course, I'm talking about Genmoji. Yes. Now I'm going to be able to take an emoji of a sloth and a light bulb and combine them, and then it's going to indicate to my viewers that I'm slow to get the idea. Because it's so clever. So you can mix emojis. Do they call it mix emojis? I think they did. You can change the expressions. If you have a Genmoji of a friend, you can make them smile. You can change their hair. You can do all these things. I really want to meet somebody who actually uses all these tools. Yes. Because I'm not convinced that they're used a lot. Maybe it's not in my demographic. Maybe younger people.
I don't know.
Yeah. Live translation was something that they really pushed on. And I'm like, when am I doing a message?
A conversation
with somebody that I don't speak the same language. I cannot think of if I'm having a conversation with somebody that I don't speak the same language, it's probably not over text messaging.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what they wanted. But they wanted to dive into app services. And Kathy came out and spoke about Apple Music. So what are some of the new things in Apple Music we can look for?
They've got lyrics translation for you, lyrics pronunciation. So if it is in a foreign language, it would tell you how to pronunciate those words.
It's like the...
and they had auto mix, which you wrote in there, Bye Bye Nate, which is kind of a DJ feature where it'll do automatic crossfades and tempo adjustment.
It's just crossfading, but smarter crossfading.
Yes. And then they got into maps, visited places. It's going to be better with that, which we were discussing. It's not very good at keeping track of that stuff. And then if you have like a commute, it'll be more smart about notifying you to go a different direction, or hey, you better leave now.
Which it kind of does already. Yeah. But I think they're kind of graduating Siri up to this Apple Intelligence model. So we'll see how well it works out. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Apple Pay, they're adding in order tracking stuff similar to what you might get with like Shop Pay or Shopify, some of those services, where if you're using your Apple Card it can pull out tracking information, give you updates on that stuff.
Yes. And everyone's favorite, we've been looking for, they finally cracked the code. They've solved the problem. Apple Gaming.
Their 10th attempt at...
I think they thought they did something great by creating a gaming app.
Yes.
But all they really did was pull the game section out of the App Store and put it in its own app.
With some more functionality and there's new competitions and challenges and stuff. But
the developers really have to get on board. Now, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch to some extent, they have these things where you can compete against each other. You can get a gamer score and keep track of all this stuff. Well, Apple kind of wants to do that, and they've been kind of wanting to do that since Game Center was introduced in iOS
way back
4 or something like that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I always I don't hold my breath on anything gaming, but nice effort, Apple.
Yes.
And some of the things we're going to talk about later, but about including support for like PlayStation controllers and some of these other things for other products that can make gaming on certain devices better. But I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yes.
But visual intelligence was something that they talked about, where you walk around and say, "What is that?" Well, that's your house. What is that? Well, that's your car. I'm sure it's useful to some people, but of course, that's now across the tools. You can do a screenshot and click a button, and Apple Intelligence will analyze what's in the screenshot without having to take that and take it somewhere else. Maybe upload it to Google Photos or Google image search or whatever.
Try to find a lamp or something like that. So you could just screenshot a website, say what you want to look up, and you could use it with different services like search on Google or Etsy they showed, and it would go find similar products. So that'll be nice.
Then I can see myself using that.
WatchOS 26,
which mine's charging out in the other room.
Oh,
I forgot to put it on.
I got mine on. There you go. But yeah, so WatchOS 26, new liquid glass design, some workout changes, improved algorithms for stuff, a new wrist flick feature to like make stuff go away.
The big thing was Workout Buddy, which I was hoping it would be something else. But there's an AI assistant that can encourage you and give you stats and information about your workout life. So not something I'm personally interested in, but maybe somebody would.
A lot of new stuff for developers on the Apple Watch to tie it in better with other devices. tvOS with our Apple TVs, new interface with liquid glass, surprise, surprise.
And a bold new look. Whatever that means.
Yes. Show profiles on Wake, so if you have family members and you each have your own specific Apple TV profile, as when you wake up the Apple TV, it could give you that selector. Show, let's see, new API for automatic sign-ins, which that's a good one. So if you're signed into an app on your phone, it could automatically sign you in on your Apple TV, which a lot of people complain about the problem of signing into your devices on the Apple TV, especially if you don't use like the phone keyboard or some of the services. It's gotten better, but if you have to use that single line keyboard to try to type in a password, because we all use strong passwords, that can be difficult. So,
I was looking online here to see if I could get any type of visual that would show us something going on here. So let's take a look.
Yes.
There we go. The public beta for all of the devices. It looks more or less the same as it did before.
It's not, the people talked about rounded icons and like a very drastic change, but as far as your home screen, it's going to look pretty much the same. They did talk about on tvOS in Apple Music a new Apple Music Sing, which is a karaoke portion of it. So you pull up a song, they have the lyrics in there, you can turn on the sing mode, but now you can use your iPhone as a microphone. So you just connect that, and then you can just hold your iPhone, so then it'll project through the TV speakers, which I thought that's a pretty cool use of their continuity features.
Let's do some karaoke here.
Yeah, there we go.
La 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 la. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah, so I think that'll be a fun one to try out. So that was tvOS. The next big one is macOS, and the name is, drumroll please, Tahoe. They always choose a California area as the names. But all your first note, all the stuff that was announced in other OSs, and I
Yeah.
do want to give a quick shout out to Dave because as we're watching this 90-minute keynote, he is furiously typing on his iPad to give all these main points that they talked about so we can remember, because it does become kind of a blur.
It's a blur, and we can look at their website, which I have it up over here. But yeah, Mac OS Tahoe. The Tahoe name was leaked. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be Mac OS 26 along with everything else. But yes, all the other stuff we talked about, all the stuff in messages, all the stuff in phone, all the stuff in FaceTime and Safari, all those things come over across all operating systems. And so what's different about the Mac? Well, transparent menu bar.
Yeah, there'll be some
not
interface changes. The continuity, oh, that's a fun one. If you have an iPhone and a Mac, if you're like, I think they gave the example of ordering from Uber Eats.
Yeah.
And on your phone, it kind of gives you the live updates of like, oh, they just picked it up. Now, those notifications can also show on your Mac, which very often I'm working on my Mac and it's like something's happening on my iPhone, but to be able to see it on the Mac. So
Yeah, the
I really love Apple continuity stuff. It just, it makes it nice to work together between your different devices. But yeah, there's some more customization type stuff. Now has a phone app. So they're kind of doing that same iPhone app on the Mac, which a lot of people, I use it basically just for FaceTimes if I'm at my desk. But if you make calls from your Mac, that's going to be a much better interface there.
I think with AirPods, which I guess this is not an AirPod, but with AirPods, and I don't use it, but they can automatically switch back and forth between different devices. I mean, I can see me going, I'm on a call and be like, okay, and I set my phone down and go over to my Mac. It will connect it through my Mac, so I'm working on my Mac maybe. Or, I mean, I usually just leave it connected to my phone and bring my phone around with me. But maybe my phone's in the car and I still want to make a phone call. And so earlier you could do it with FaceTime audio, but now you're going to be able to do it with the actual phone with your phone number, which is a pretty cool feature.
Yes, yeah. Then they talked a lot about shortcuts and Spotlight, that's becoming more intelligent. So Spotlight, I use it all the time, Command Space, and then you can search anything, but it's going to give you a lot more contextual menus. It'll give you shortcuts, actions that apps can build into it. I think are really going to be nice to just get into what you need to do quicker. They were showing how that stuff works together between an app or a file and being able to get it in. Like if he created a PDF file and wanted to add it to a freeform document, and you could just kind of put it in there with an automatic built-in shortcut type stuff. I don't use a ton of shortcuts, but having it built in more of the system where it's smarter about trying to come up with those shortcuts instead of having to build one yourself.
And are you talking about with the command space? What is that called? Spotlight.
Yes.
Yeah. So some of the things that are great, it's like you can assign now with some of the other tools that are available, third-party tools. It's like I want to assign AR to add reminder, and I just hit command space AR return, and it opens up the reminder app. I can add a reminder, and then
you could even do. They had it'll pull up in that little Spotlight search window. If you said add a reminder, it'll give you a little sentence, and it'll say add reminder. So you type that in, then it'll say when, all within just that little quick pop-up window while you're in another app. If you're just like, oh, I need to remember to pick up the groceries or whatever it is.
So it's a kind of a keyboard first tool where you don't have to lift your hand off and go to another app. You just do everything right there. So a lot of people who work that way are going to be happy. Although I do think people are probably using third-party tools like Alfred or whatever. But anytime you can do those things with first-party apps that just work across all your devices is a good thing. Yeah,
which the next one, clipboard history is part of that. So that's something I've talked about previous pick of the week. I use an app called Paste. It syncs all of so anything I copy on my Mac, then I can use it on my phone. It's cross-platform and everything. But having a clipboard history built into that. So there's often times where I'm copying and pasting a ton of data into a different format or something like that. building a website or something like that. I've got to get this. Well, with clipboard history, and Windows has this built in, but Apple hasn't had it built in. But it'll just show you everything that you have copied in there, whether it's an image that you copied or anything.
Text, links.
Yeah, so it gives you the ability to not have a singularity of copy and paste, but you can go back and look, oh yeah, this morning I copied that link, but I didn't paste it anywhere. You can go find it and then put it where you need it to be. So I think that's going to be good. I might keep using paste because as often I think it has a lot more features than this one's going to, but I think it's a great start, and a lot of people are really going to find that one helpful.
Yeah. And not to be forgotten, games are now available on Mac. Now, they were available before,
yes,
but the Games app is going to be on Mac as well. They're going to take advantage of the new Metal 4 integration, whatever that means. There's a game overlay. You're in the middle of a game, and you can pull up a sidebar that you can chat with a friend or do whatever. I'm a little dubious. I've been hurt too many times.
You mentioned that before.
Yeah. So moving on from games, which is probably going to be dying on the vine, Journal. We didn't talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
The Journal app was previously only available on iOS on your phone. It's a diary type app that Apple made.
It'll suggest it for you if you took a bunch of pictures somewhere. Say, hey, do you want to write something about your trip to the park or whatever?
So it's a great tool, but for a guy like me who is in the Apple ecosystem and has dozens of devices, it'd be nice if it were more places than just my phone. So now it's everywhere. It's on iPad. It's on Mac. It's on visionOS, I'm assuming. Is it there?
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't remember if they said or not. But it's finally coming off the phone into other apps. And so they listed that here in the macOS. So what's the next OS we're going to be talking about?
visionOS. All of us with our Apple Vision Pro devices, which I do own.
One of us in this room has one.
I do not know. I don't think I know another person, besides people I follow online that has a Vision Pro.
We could say that 50% of the people in this house have Vision
Pros.
Pros.
Right. 50% of the hosts of the show have the Vision Pro, but I love my Vision Pro. I understand it's very expensive. I know it's not for everybody. I do think, and Yetup has joined the chat. This is huge for all 20 people that have one.
Yes.
But they talked about it. I'm excited for this stuff. We can quickly, some experiences, they're going to have widgets, which they showed those off really cool, where you could just pick a spot on your wall and put a clock, and you can add depth and styles and everything.
It's persistent, and it'll stay there. It locks
which
on.
It has not had that stuff built in, that anytime you put on your Vision Pro, you can have this stuff locked to a room. Oh yeah, there's an image of it. They talked more about the so the widgets, spatial scenes. There's going to be more of the interactive stuff. You can do more with that. Again, not a lot of people have this. This isn't something they did talk about sharing, being able to be in the same room, new improved personas.
Yeah, the personas. I don't know if they have it here on their page.
But yeah, better web browsing, where they're actually web developers can build 3D stuff into websites that you'd be able to interact with. Or if you have a web page with a bunch of pictures, those can have depth to them as you're going through stuff. So I think there didn't seem anything groundbreaking on the Vision OS, but again, I don't think.
Well, I teased it earlier.
Oh yeah.
This is a big one.
Yes.
You can now, when this comes out, they're partnering with Sony so that you can use the Sony VR controllers with the Vision Pro.
Yes.
Something that was sorely missing. I've got the Meta Quest 3 device, and for gaming, for doing any type of games, like the quintessential example is Beat Saber. These blocks are coming towards you, and you're got lightsabers and you're chopping them up with blocks, different sizes, different whatever. It's very fun. It's very engaging. It's a great workout to do that, but you need precise control of a controller to do that. And on Vision Pro, just using your hands, there's not really a good way to do that. So games like Beat Saber, which is owned by Meta. I doubt that it comes out. But
there's similar games.
But similar games like that are going to be able to take advantage of these controllers.
Better controls.
And they know where they are in space immediately. They don't have to kind of guess where you are. So I'm looking forward to the controller support. And is it gonna cause me to go buy a Vision Pro? Well, we'll see.
Yes.
Probably not.
Probably not. Well, the next one, back to a much more popular one, iPadOS 26. Now, this one was
Hallelujah.
huge change. It's got a new design that's based on liquid glass.
Yeah,
surprise,
in case you didn't know that.
But yeah, they said this is the biggest change to iPadOS since
probably ever.
As far as the interface, and it is becoming so Mac. There are some big features that are becoming very Mac OS like.
Yeah, so just in the screenshot here, you can see, like on the right hand side, you can see that there are folders down in the dock, and when you click the folder, it shows you all the files inside the folder. So I'm jumping ahead in our list, but file management is getting a big update. They're doing Windows management now, where let's get some examples here. So previously it was like, I'm going to run this app, and now I'm going to run this app. Oh, and
maybe I could get them to
side by side with each other. But now I can drag this app over here. I can do this, and I can have 5 or 6 apps going at once. And the little stoplight buttons like you find on a Mac, or even the ones on Windows on the upper right-hand corner, are making their debut on the iPadOS. And a menu bar at the top. Now, again, all these things are going to be contextual, so I don't know if the menu bar works without the keyboard and mouse. Is it going to appear?
Yeah.
Maybe you could slide it down with your finger. I don't know. The pointer is going to be more pointy versus just a round blob, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, they are embracing the device to be more of a computer and less of a single app experience, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
And they're bringing the preview app, which is very popular on macOS. We talk about a lot, for quick edits on images or PDFs, and that's part of the Files app too. They're really making that a lot better. So yeah, I really feel like the iPadOS is inching closer to macOS. Now, it's not going to be a replacement for everybody, but they did announce some things on the stage of for creators or podcasters, audio input selection that you can do, voice isolation, record studio quality. You can do video. You can start and stop with AirPods. So if you kind of set your iPad up as a little production studio, you can do a lot of features with that. So I think not everybody does that with their iPod, but some great features that people have been asking for.
Yeah, of all the betas that I'm going to try out, iPadOS is the one that I'm going to try.
Yeah, that one is exciting. So that's the OSs. Then they kind of wrapped up talking a little bit directly to the developers. Now they do almost immediately, shortly after they finish this keynote that goes out to the world, they do the State of the Union address, which is much more specifically, hey, developers, here's the stuff that's going to help you code better, help you develop better apps, tie in better. And then they do 100 more sessions of specific things for all the developers to learn how to make better apps. But they did mention a couple things at the end. One is, and they had mentioned it earlier, their Foundations Models framework, which allows app developers to tap into the large language model built into Apple. So to really directly tie into that privacy-focused local thing, it's not having to go out to ChatGPT or use cloud server compute stuff that's done on the device.
So hopefully fast.
Yes.
Since it's or if you're offline, you're out in the middle of nowhere and you need to utilize the tool, which just makes a lot of sense. And Apple's one of the few companies that's poised to do that because the chips in the devices they make are so powerful.
Yeah. Yep. So. App Intense, visual intelligence stuff they can tie into, more standard developer kits, which they do very good with. Design with liquid glass.
Sorry,
liquid glass, typo. Icon Composer, a special tool for building new liquid glass.
You may not have seen, but some of the icons in files and different things can be changed to incorporate things more. But yes, in addition to our light mode, dark mode, tint mode, we now have the the
glass
mode. So you're going to see this across all interfaces.
Yes, yeah. So Xcode improvements for better tying in with, I think they mentioned ChatGPT. There were developer tools in there, but better coding options. Xcode is the platform where people code for Apple operating systems, but the developer betas are available today. They will have public betas next month in July, which is their typical schedule, and then they'll do at the probably September-ish is when all the new operating systems come out. So you've got a little time. We'll be discussing things more.
Yeah.
So you said you'll probably install the iPad developer beta.
Yeah, I'll probably find a Mac to put Tahoe on to try out, not my main Mac. I'm not going to put it on my main phone for a while.
Yeah.
But again, I have the luxury of having a couple devices around that I can choose. Like I have the iPad Mini and the large size iPad, so maybe I'll put it on the Mini to try it out.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
But I'm excited for all the stuff. We'll see what I usually live dangerously with the betas, but I might wait a while, especially on my Mac.
Yeah. Tyler, just slow your roll. Cool down. Wait a couple weeks.
Yes,
it's okay.
Yes, let them get some bugs out. But I'm sure we'll talk more. We won't be doing a show. It's Monday at noonish. Tuesday night we aren't going to do our normal episode this week. We might have a little bonus content that might happen. But next week we will have had a week to read and listen to people that know a lot more about what all this stuff actually means, especially for developers.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to see next week, I'm sure we'll do some follow-up on some of the functions.
Of course, yeah.
It's very exciting for us and huge Apple fans, but for the average user, it's like, hey, here's stuff you got to wait 4 months for it to come to your phone.
You'll be able to use this, half a year from now.
Yes.
Yeah. Put that on your calendar, and they're like, whatever. I got to change the kids' diapers. I don't care about this stuff.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, it's exciting for us. We like doing this now. Probably the bigger event for everybody is the September event where they announce the new iPhones.
All the hardware.
And there might be some other hardware hopefully before then. But yeah, mid-September we'll get that iPhone announcement. And you even see more features that are coming to iOS are specific to the new phones. So that's the real deal. This one is a teaser and, some cool information to see which direction they're going with stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm very happy. I like the glass design.
Yeah.
I like the iPadOS stuff that's coming. The Mac stuff, whatever. I use my Mac for work stuff. It works the way it is now. Don't mess it up.
Yes, don't mess it up.
And the watch stuff, I'm a little disappointed that there wasn't more as far as collaborating with other people for workout. But hey, we got that new AI buddy.
Yeah,
who needs friends when you got the buddy?
Oh yes, yeah.
The Clippy for Apple Watch.
Yes, but it was, I think, overall, in the beautiful presentation. They had some fun with things. Craig Federighi did some funny little skits. And then, Dave, at the end, they did...
Oh, boy. The best. There was a musical montage. Well, no, it was a song devoted to real-life App Store reviews. And I think it was probably titled something 6 stars out of 5.
Yes.
6 out of 5 stars. Because that's the chorus line that they did. But yeah, they took real Apple reviews and put them to music in a very entertaining way. I don't know who the artist was.
Apparently it was Alan Stone.
Not sure who that is.
I'm not familiar, but tongue-in-cheek tribute to the developers behind our favorite apps and to the wonderfully unfiltered reviews users leave. I do want to see the alternate version of the 1-star reviews, but...
There was one that was kind of stuck out. It's like, this app had me stuck... I was glued to this app like ... glue.
Yeah.
Like the person couldn't think of the word. Anyway, it's very comical. If you want to watch anything, just watch that last song.
The last song.
It was pretty fun.
And you can watch the whole event. It was right about, I think, almost exactly 90 minutes. We've been going for 44 minutes, so
really,
half the time.
Wow.
But giving you some real-world insights on some of the stuff they said. But yeah, anything else you got on it, Dave?
That's all I got. Stay tuned for more. And yes, maybe there will be something tomorrow night. But
make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, I didn't bring my envelope with me. Ring that bell because there might be some bonus content coming to the channel.
Don't hold your breath, but who knows? There might be
trying to work that out. But thank you for everybody that hopped on the live chat or is watching this later in your podcast app.
Yeah.
That was Apple's WWDC Keynote. So now you can get out there and tech better in September.
Get out there and wait for September.
Doom, 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 doom.